The Windows registry is another favorite place for cybercriminals because it stores all the system information. And apart from that, you can place files or applications that are started with the machine there because there are keys precisely for that. So, first of all, let's talk a little bit about what the registry is. The registry is a hierarchical database that has several hive, as if it were a beehive. So, for example, we have information about the users logged into the machine. We have different data. Let's take a look at the Windows registry. The regedit is the tool for Registry Edition. It is the tool that brings the operating system by default. Let's close here to look at the main hives. As you can see, there are 5 main hives. HKey classes root, the key current user, the HKey local machine users, and current config. Then, within each of these registers, different information is stored. Information about, for example, with which application I am going to open a specific file extension, for example, or what type of file a specific extension belongs to. How is the configuration of the user that is logged in at that moment? That is what we have here, in current user, the configuration of the local machine, which users we have, etc. A big part of the registry is stored in RAM memory. That's why you cannot touch it, for example, the part of the password. And the logged in user that is stored in the registry, and it is mounted in RAM memory. So normally you could not touch it unless you have an exploitation of the machine, that an attacker has an exploit running and has managed, for example, to take privileges of type NT or with the user NT authority system that would have the possibility, for example, to extract that information. Then, the registry usually contains a lot of information and is used by cybercriminals. It is attacked by cybercriminals to take control of the machine or alter the behavior of the machine. There are tools that allow us to see the registry behavior. We were talking about the sysinternal suite tools. I'm going to copy the latest version because I think that is not the latest version. A couple of days ago, recording some videos for you precisely, I was able to download the latest version of the sysinternal suite. I'm going to put it here. Let's extract it. Let's extract it and look at the tool. Process Monitor. I want to show you the Process Explorer, or it could be Process Monitor for now. Look, we have the Process Monitor that would allow us to see the behavior of the registry in real time. For example, I'm going to tell it, okay, look, let's use the Process Monitor now, and then I'll show you a couple of other things. Then look, you can select what you want to visualize. Already in another exercise I had shown it. Then I'm going to disable file system. I disable it, and I want to enable logging. You're going to see that the logging is totally dynamic. It does not stop. It does not stop being modified. Look, I'm going to tell to enable auto scroll. Look, it does not stop. I'm going to increase the width of this column so that you can see the timestamping. Look, it does not stop. Keys are opened, keys are closed, keys are queried. Here you can see what was happening. Look at, for example, here, you see the process name, each one of them, what operation was done. Here in the operation, look at a query. Most of the time, they are queries, but sometimes they close keys, or they are created. One of the things that malware does is to create new registry keys or alter registry keys. Then with a tool like Sysmon or Process Monitor, you could know this. In one of the exercises we are going to use Sysmon as a monitoring tool and control tool to determine if there is any change, punctual within our machine. A major change, right? A major change. Then as you see, the registry is totally dynamic. This tool is great because it allows us, for example, to separate by processes. We could see specifically what a process is doing, punctually. Then you have the possibility of applying filters. And within the filters, for example, we can take a process number. Let's look here for the process ID. Then the process ID is, for example, 1044. I saw it here. 1044. To include it, I say add me that filter and I say okay. Then look, now it just shows us what the 1044 process is doing, which is the service host. And only that. Look, it opens keys, closes keys, and we can see which one, the H key local machine. Then the system setup. Mainly system setup. I also saw another one at Microsoft. Windows. Well, here's another. Microsoft Windows NT and so on. Then we can monitor the registry and its behavior in different ways. Now, one of the things that we could do, for example, is to take a copy of the registry with the same tool. You can do it with the same regedit. You could take a copy of the registry because it allows us to export it. Look, it allows us to say File, Export, and you could export a complete copy of the registry. For example, I'm going to put it on the desktop. I'm going to call it XXX, and you can save a complete copy of the registry. Now you can also do it by command line without problem. It should not make a complete copy, but, well, it is doing it. Nothing happens. I'll show you here. Also is the command reg, and I can tell it, well, if I tell it to show the different parameters of the reg. Look, you can export. Look, here it is. You have the options to, for example, delete or export, etc. And that would allow you to make a copy of the registry. For example, a reg export. If I can tell it reg export, and I can tell it what I want to export, like, for example, H key, current user. Where do I want to export it to? To //. For example, copy, H key current user, .reg. We'll create, give me a minute. Let's see. I missed something. Here, let's ask for help. Just in case I missed something inside the command. For sure. So look, reg export. I'm going to do the export of H key current user. For example, and simply, well, I have to say the path, but well, let's put it without the path. Let's say copy hkeyCurrentUser.reg. And it already exploited it. Look, it already did. Here we should have a file that is called copy over C. Copy hkeyCurrentUser.reg. There it is. Then you can make copy of each one of the keys or of the registry hives without problem or delete them, etc. But in this case, we are talking about a defensive issue. So it would be more interesting to have a backup copy. Now then, overwrite it or recover it is double-click on the copy file, and already you have it. On the desktop, we should have the copy that was made. Look, here is the XXX reg with the graphical tool. Now, to be able to repair a registry, we have the sfc/scan now that we already saw previously. There are also other tools that can help us to repair a registry of a machine, as for example, DISM. DISM is a very interesting tool. You can see it here. The DISM is for the management of images, the deployment image service, and management tool. DISM has certain very interesting options, like, for example, the online options. Look, here you have, for example, commit to save changes in WIM. You have the image options to be able to recover or to be able to scan an image. Then you can say, for example, say DISM/online. Online. /interrogation, for example, to see the different options. There is an option that allows us, for example, to do a scan. Like, for example, look here. You have cleanup image, for example. This option. Cleanup image. Then we are going to tell it /cleanup cleanup hyphen image. And if I want to ask what parameters I can use here, it can be /interrogation, and then it's going to tell us, well, what can we do? In this case, we could simply say start component cleanup. So if I give it without this, it is going to ask me an additional parameter. Look, is asking me for an additional parameter. There is a parameter that we can look for. Let me look for the one I want to use. Well, scan. -health. Let's see. No, it did not recognize it. Let's remove the hyphen. Now it did. This verifies the health or that the integrity of the registry, for example. Then look, there begins to run and is not only of the registry, it is also for the system. But it is one of the most interesting tools because it allows us to determine the health. Look there, it's running. The health of the image that we have at this moment in execution of our machine. Then they are different commands, different tools that will allow us at a given time to verify our registry, to make a backup copy of the registry or examine it if necessary and see how it is changing over time. And if there is any process that is totally taking over the registry and what kind of activity it is doing, if it is creating new keys, if it's altering existing keys, etc. Very well. I hope this topic has been of interest to you. We continue.